What's going on, guys? Kahuna checking in, bringing you guys another Madden 16 Ultimate Team video. And as you guys see, my opponent's three best players: Antonio Brown, Gerald McCoy, and Peyton Manning. So without further ado, let's get into this game now. My opponent's first play of the game, he's going to hand this one over to Carlos Hyde. Carlos Hyde actually picking up a nice gain of about 8 yards right there. So 2nd and 2, I have a feeling this is going to be a run play. Sure enough, it is. I sent the all-out blitz, but somehow Carlos Hyde manages to squeeze his way through that little open hole, and Carlos Hyde showboating early as he deserves to do. So just like that, my opponent is going to be able to score only on 2 plays. So here is my offense's first look on the field. We need to convert. We need to actually capitalize on this drive because my opponent scored in 2 plays. So we really need to come out here and score on our first drive as well. So 2nd and 8, here we go with Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck dropping back. Andrew Luck able to find Odell Beckham Jr. Odell gets lit up, but thankfully Odell managed to hang on to the ball. So here we go, setting up the screen to Terrell Davis, and that was just a nice play by his end right there, able to sniff out that screen. So forced to a 2nd and 14, Andrew Luck finds ODB or OBJ, whatever you want to call him, and Odell getting lit up again, but thankfully Odell is not fumbling the ball, so that is definitely really nice. And on 3rd and 10, we are going to pass this ball over to Reggie Bush, my safety blanket, and Reggie Bush doing everything in his power to pick up that first down, just a little bit shy, 3 yards shy of the first down. And right there I went for on 4th and 3, but unfortunately Andrew Luck had to throw that pass off of his back foot, and that did not work out very well. Going back to Carlos Hyde. Carlos Hyde is going to be a problem for our defense, man. We can't stop Carlos Hyde. Look at that, 3 rushes. I believe that's like 88 yards, but seriously, we cannot stop Carlos Hyde. And thankfully on 3rd and 1 that time we were able to stop him. 4th and 2, going back to Carlos Hyde, and this is just the story of the game. My opponent ground and pounding with Carlos Hyde. If our defense can't stop the running game, this is seriously going to be an issue. And Peyton Manning this time finally going to throw the ball, and he is going to march down the field, taking his offense down to my 26-yard line. So here is Peyton Manning dropping back, firing this one into the end zone, and Will Hill comes down with the INT. So thankfully we were able to get a stop, and look at Will Hill still so hyped. So hopefully that ignites my offense because Will Hill managed to get the key INT for my offense, for my defense. So here is our offense. We end up finding Delaney Walker, Delaney getting lit up. So my opponent definitely has so many guys who could lay the boom on his team, but thankfully none of them are fumbling, and we find Brian Finneran, Andrew Luck to Brian Finneran, nobody is going to be able to catch up to him. And there is my first point on offense, tying this ball game up at 7-7 and a piece. And my opponent gets called for a delay of game, so that's going to push him back to a 1st and 15. Peyton Manning all day in the pocket, throwing this one over to the left side of the field, and I think that was Antonio Brown able to come down with that hard catch. So 2nd and 10, a little over 2 minutes left. He's going to dump this one over to Carlos Hyde. Carlos Hyde refusing to go down, but he did end up getting lit up. So 3rd and 7. Now here is Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning with all the time in the world, gonna fire this one deep, one-on-one coverage. I have a helper coming down. Harrison Smith couldn't come down with the INT. If Harrison Smith could have held on to that one, that would have been huge. So he did manage to pump me back the ball. So we are already forced to a 3rd and 2. Right there, I end up finding Reggie Bush. You guys know what I call him, my safety blanket. Reggie Bush able to pick up the first down and some. So a little over a minute left remaining. We need to get down the field to potentially get a field goal, but forget the field goal. Jordy Nelson said, I want the touchdown, and that is exactly what you're going to get, Jordy. So just like that, the score is now 14-7. So thankfully Will Hill did actually ignite my offense. Here we go, my opponent taking this kick back. Paul Puzzlusling comes down, lights him up, and somehow, someway, look at this. They actually called this an overturn. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that should have been a fumble for me, but they overturned that? Not sure. I don't really see how that was overturned. His knee wasn't even down before the ball came out, but nonetheless, it was overturned. And here is Carlos Hyde yet again doing Carlos Hyde-like things. So maybe I need to pick myself up a Carlos Hyde because he seems to be putting in the finest of work right now. There he goes again, another Carlos Hyde sighting. So my opponent burns a timeout. He has 2 timeouts left, 11 seconds left in the 2nd quarter. Peyton Manning gonna chuck this one deep to Antonio Brown, and Antonio Brown comes up with the catch. And now my opponent is gonna do the smart thing. He is just gonna settle for the field goal. The kick is up, and it is good. So just like that, the score is now 14-10. And here we go, start of the 3rd quarter. I do regain possession of the ball. Here we go, Andrew Luck is gonna be able to find Delaney Walker. Hold that block. Delaney Walker going down the sidelines. Nobody in front of him. Here comes one guy to beat. Delaney Walker tiptoeing down the sidelines, and I panicked. My thumb was too much on the left side of the thumbstick. That was just a fail by me. So here we go, man. If I manage to mess this up, if I just screwed this drive up for us, 3rd and goal, if I don't get into the end zone right here, that will be such a tragedy, and that is gonna be the case. So if only I was able to move the left thumbstick over to the right just a tad bit so Delaney could stay in bounds, that would have been a touchdown. But instead, we have to settle for a field goal, but that is perfectly fine. So 17-10, my opponent is going to set up the screen to none other than Carlos Hyde, and Carlos Hyde just picking up a huge chunk of yards every time. So here is Peyton Manning forced to a 3rd and 7. Peyton gonna try to go to the screen. Not much of anything right there. Actually ends up losing a gain of about 3, or I should say actually losing 3 yards. But on 4th and 10, and manages to find his wide open tight end. But it doesn't matter. Orlando Scandrick of all people. Yo, Orlando Scandrick, 9 out of 10 times, every time I come down and light people up with Orlando Scandrick, he comes up with the fumble. Not sure what Orlando's hit power is, but definitely I'm gonna check out this game. I'm really curious because Orlando causes so many fumbles for me. But anyways, here is Andrew Luck and our offense. 3rd and 9, we end up finding Odell Beckham Jr. going down the sideline. Nobody in sight. Odell Beckham Jr. is gonna walk into the end zone for that easy touchdown. And wow, my opponent quit the game so fast, and we actually end up walking out of here with the win. As you guys see, we are currently 7-0 on the season, and all we need to do is win one more game, and then that will secure the 1st round bye for us, guys. So next video, we will be fighting for the 1st round bye. So thank you guys so much for watching, and if you guys did enjoy, don't forget to drop a like. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new. Till next time, guys, this is Kahuna, and I'm checking out.